Hello everyone, and welcome to another News Coolum video and another charging site review. I haven't been able to do one of these in a while. I'm here at the ChargePoint in Grass Valley at the Briar Patch Food Co-Op. We're just sort of off the Highway 20, and I believe it's Highway 49, just up in the mountains, the western Sierras. And, I wouldn't even really consider this a highway charger, actually. We're far enough off of the highway, and I might get to that when I talk about the accessibility score, but it includes two Tritium 50 kilowatt DC fast chargers and two plugs for a J1772. It looks like a 6 kilowatt or about 6.4 kilowatt or 30 amp charger. But it's a really nice site, and it's actually really busy. Now, I showed up here at lunch, but just the last of the EV owners who was here is just now leaving. In fact, I was on level 2 for a while when I was here just to plug in and charge, and I wasn't even sure if I wanted to plug into the DC fast chargers, but a couple of them on the display I was seeing only maybe 20 kilowatts being outputted, so I really wanted to use the DC fast charger just to make sure that it's putting out the full 50 kilowatts, because the other Bolt EV I saw there, they were charging at like 20 kilowatts with 20% battery. So it did get down to freezing last night, so I'm assuming that they just showed up with a pretty low battery that was also cold. So that I'm pulling a full 50 kilowatts, or I should say like the 45 kilowatts that these 50 kilowatt chargers are capable of providing. But otherwise, it's it's a nice stop, but I really do consider these sort of a destination charger stop. Sure, if you're traveling east-west across California, this sort of side highway, this Highway 20, this is going to be a good gateway charger to get you into the Sierras, that sort of thing. But altogether, though, I would consider this more of a destination charger. And I know my scoring scale tends to be, slanted more towards the travel chargers. So don't expect this site to get as high of a score, even though, I'm really happy to see it here. I'm really enthusiastic about seeing it here. But let's just jump right into the site score. Now, for accessibility, I'm only going to score this site an 8 out of 10. And the reason for it is, one, my big pet peeve, there's no full pull-through parking. There's just no way to pull in here, plug in, and not block multiple chargers if you have a trailer. And then even then, you might not be able to, right? Because these are nose-in parking spaces. So if you're towing a trailer, this is really not a charger that you're going to be able to use. And that's really unfortunate, because this is the type of site that needs to be equipped for trailers. A location leading into the national forests, up into the mountains, camping places. This is the type of place where people are going to be towing with their vehicles, and the fact that you can't bring a vehicle with a trailer still attached in and charge here, that's unfortunate. But the other thing is, the other point I'm knocking off is this is really not close to anything. And it is a busy parking lot. It's I came here around lunchtime, and the chargers were essentially full, right? So in the time that I've just cycled through here, there have been at least 3 other EVs here. So, and not counting other EVs parked in the parking lot. So, this is a fairly busy location, and, getting access to these chargers, especially the DC fast chargers, might not be easy. So it's going to get a full 2 points knocked off, and only 8 out of 10 for accessibility. Now, for amenities, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And really, the only thing that I think it's missing is covering for the chargers themselves. We're high enough in elevation in the Sierras that you're going to get snow here, you're going to get ice. These chargers really need to have some sort of a covering over them. And I know people have mentioned, oh, well, you don't need a covering because people just plug in and walk away with an electric car. That is true. It's not like a gas pump where you're standing there for 5 minutes holding the nozzle. But the chargers themselves also need to be protected, right? You don't want ice on the cords. You don't want sun in the screens, that sort of thing. And that's really why I advocate for covering over these chargers. And that's really what you need here. You know, I might knock off another point in terms of amenities just because this isn't going to be 24-hour access, but really in this area, in this location, I don't think you can expect 24-hour access even from a lot of gas stations. So I'm not going to knock a point off from that, even though I typically would. Otherwise, you have a lot of services here really built around the Briar Patch store, but it's still everything that you want. There's a hiking path, there are picnic tables, there's bathrooms in the store. You can pick up what you need. If you want to grab a quick lunch like I did, sit up there, eat, just you're overlooking the chargers. It's a nice location. And so really, it has level 2 charging for those EVs that don't have DC fast charging. So it's getting a 9 out of 10 for amenities. For site concentration, though, this is below average. There are only 2 DC fast chargers here. So even if you have those 2 level 2 AC chargers in addition, it's not enough chargers, right? I'd say even for a site like this, bare minimum 3, preferably 4. But as it is, you know, this is well below what I consider the current average of 3 chargers per site. And we saw it when I got here, right? There were 4 vehicles actively charging or trying to charge while I was here. 2 DC fast chargers just aren't enough. I was using level 2 because I didn't know if I was going to need DC fast charging, but I shouldn't have to have made that choice, right? I should have been able to pull right into an open DC fast charger, gain access to it, or at most wait 5 minutes. But anyway, as that is, I'm giving this a site concentration score of 4 out of 10. Now for location, I'm going to give this site an 8 out of 10. And it's not super important like on an interstate corridor where there's a gap, but it is very important because there's not a whole lot of coverage here. The gaps aren't super big, but you're in an area with harsh winters, a lot of elevation changes. So this is sort of out on an island right now, and I think it's important to have these destination charger sites, especially in like these foothill communities where people are, like I said, gateway into the national forests, up into the mountains. So I think in that regard, it's a really important charger for travelers and you know, people visiting the area, but also locals who maybe don't have access to charging at home or they need a quick top up in between. So it's getting an 8 out of 10 for location. And then finally, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10 for speed. Why? Because, well, it's just dead average. These are the 125 amp, 50 kilowatt Tritium chargers. Most vehicles that are coming out now charge much faster than this. Old vehicles that are already out charge faster than this. It's really only the small battery EVs where this speed is kind of appropriate, or if you have a super efficient electric vehicle that can really take advantage of it. But otherwise, you know, yeah, this is a bit of a destination charger, but I would still think that a 200 amp, 100 kilowatt DC fast charger is the most appropriate, even for a site like this. So these are really on the slow end, and I'm just going to give it an average score of 5 out of 10 for speed. So that brings us to a total site score of 34 out of 50, which, you know, is below a C, right? It would be considered a D in letter grades. And you know, like I said, my scale does lean toward favoring those travel chargers, which, you know, have higher speeds, better access points, closer to freeways, that sort of thing. So I don't want to get down on this site too much. I really do like it. I like the fact that it's located next to a nice store. You know, hiking opportunities. There's a place to take your dog if you bring your dog. You know, there are tables to eat at. So overall, I think this is a great site. I really do like it. But there are some key pain points here. And really, if they had addressed those, I think the site would have been much more compelling. Just 1 to 2 more DC fast chargers configured in a way that you can actually pull in with a trailer and still access a charger. I think with those sorts of changes, it would have been a solid C. Like I said, even if my scale sort of favors travel chargers. So anyway, again, I'm glad I came up here. It was a nice drive. It's a scenic drive. You know, I have family, friends who live in the area, so it's nice to kind of get another lay of the land. And you know, this is just a really good site. It's a good site to be able to use to get into, like I said, the national forests and the mountainous regions of northeastern California. So let me know what you think. Have you been able to use this charger before? You know, what do you think about 50 kilowatt chargers as destination chargers for these type of grocery stores and restaurants that are sort of off the beaten path? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and thank you for watching.